Okay guys, let's start winding this review down already. The second to last part, we're going to be looking at the new problems. Problems aren't the most exciting part of the game, but they are a necessary part of the game. And having a decent problem on the board can be the difference between winning and losing. The first one we're going to look at is Trader, which is a new purple problem. It doesn't have a very high bonus, but it does have the ability Troublemakers here have +2 power. We've already talked so extensively on the fact that Troublemaker control decks are going to become a thing. This is obviously something that's going to make it a lot more powerful. Since it just says Troublemakers, it also affects villain cards, okay? That's pretty good. Desperately Seeking Spike is an interesting thing that Blue got. It's mainly interesting because it's a starting problem. When a player confronts this problem, you can reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a friend, you can put it in your hand. People are going to say that it kind of sucks your opponent can take advantage of this too, but the main reason I wanted to look at it is because Blue has this little thing called Frightened Control. Do you see where I'm going with this? I really hope you see where I'm going with this. Yellow also got a really exciting starting problem with Babysitting Breezies. Characters with 3 or more power can't contribute their power to confronting this problem. That pretty much shuts down orange and blue decks, which is really good, and it shuts down the good cards in a lot of other decks too. One really neat thing is all boosted characters just cannot confront this problem. Since this is a yellow problem, chances are you're going to be able to rush this with 2 and 1 power critters, so it doesn't even matter for you. Overall, I think this is a great card for yellow to get. Orange, as with pretty much every other kind of card, got amazing problems. The first one is the starting problem here, which is characters here lose and can't gain abilities. Obviously, we all know why these cards are so good. If your opponent has something like a Holly Dash, Bulk Biceps, it gives movement, they lose that movement. If you're going against a pink deck that would normally have really good dismissal power, obviously it doesn't get its dismissal power anymore. Even put in play effects don't work for something like this, because as soon as the card hits play, it gets hit by this effect, and then loses its own effects. So if your opponent plays like a Pinky Responsibility pie here, it hits play, loses the effect where it dismisses a friend, and then just becomes a 2-power pony. Somebody over at Interplay is way too into Applejack, or they're trying to compensate way too hard for how bad Orange was in the very first set. One other thing I want to point out is you can run this with pink, like if you're running an orange-pink deck, and you can run the 7-power Discord that loses 3 power when it comes into play, and all of a sudden it doesn't lose 3 power anymore. Not as reliable, but something you need to be aware of. On top of that, we also get Applebuck Season, which features Applejack not looking too hot. Is that even Applejack? It looks a little bit like that derpy character everybody's going on about, but wearing Applejack's clothing? I don't know. When this problem is solved, each player with at least one friend here chooses a friend here, and if that friend would be sent home, it isn't sent home instead. This is really cool because it means you can keep things like Big Mac, for example, on this problem without actually sending them home after the face-off's resolved. And for anybody who read one of the comments on my other videos and they're wondering exactly how these kinds of cards work, so let me explain. A problem being solved is the instance in which a face-off has occurred, somebody has gained the bonus points, and the problem is going to be slipped to another problem. So, yes, it does mean that after a face-off, you can keep a character at this problem without actually moving it home. Again, people are going to be a little worried that your opponent gets this effect too, but if you get to keep something like Big Mac or something on a problem, then who cares, okay? Who's going to stand up to Big Mac? Let's get on to pink. It's got a new starting problem too. When this problem is solved, dismiss each friend here. This can really be used to play mind games with your opponent, because if your opponent moves some stuff here and tries to solve this problem, maybe like during a double face-off for example, they're going to have to play it kind of safe, because anything they play here, if you initiate a face-off, even if they win that face-off, they're going to lose everything that they have on this problem. If you really want to build around this, there's this little deck called Pinky Sparkle Surprise, which is perfect for this, because you can force your opponent to have their good ponies here, and then just put crap here, and all of a sudden your opponent loses all their good stuff, you lose practically nothing, and that's just the end of it. Even if you do lose the face-off, your opponent gets 1 bonus point. Woohoo! Next we're going to look at Plunder Seeds in Ponyville. This is mainly a counter to pink decks, purple decks, and yellow decks. When this card enters play, just dismiss all friends with 2 or less power. Just all of them. Both sides of the field, it doesn't even matter. It's actually a really cool card, because it gets rid of a lot of yellow problems like Owl for example. It gets rid of All-Team Organizer Twilight, it gets rid of Cloud Chaser, it gets rid of Rarity Truly Outrageous. I could go on for days, it's just a really good anti-meta card. Keep in mind though, since you're playing pink, it's probably going to hit you a little bit too, but you know, you win some, you lose some, eye for an eye, you know how it works. Pink has some cards that are really good at manipulating the problem deck anyway, so if you're really that worried about it, you can throw in a couple of cards so that you maybe look through your problem deck, or look at the top couple of cards of your problem deck and keep the ones that you don't want on the bottom. You have options, don't just write this card off, it does have its uses. The last card we're going to look at is this ridiculous card called Fire When Ready. When a character enters play here, or is moved here, replace each problem. Now, we need to explain this card a little bit. So first things first, it's got 5 bonus, and you're probably thinking that there's some potential here with something like Rarity Truly Outrageous or something like that, where you could just farm the 5 bonus. No, it's not possible, and not worth it if it was possible. Second, you might be looking for a way to solve this, as if its effect wasn't ridiculous enough. If you play a pony here, or if you move a pony here, this replaces itself. It's really not going to be that useful. But if you found a way around that, then you'd have to get 5 power of every single color here. And keep in mind, one character can only count its power towards one of the color requirements. So you have to get 6 different characters here that all have 5 power. That's not going to happen. If your opponent wants to solve this card, that's not going to happen either, because it's not a colorless color requirement. It is legitimately get 30 power on this problem. No, its main use, if it even has one, is going to be flipping your opponent's problem back. I mean, I guess I kind of get it, but that's so situational. Like, if your opponent has a really decent problem up or something, then you don't want to flip it anyway, or if it's a really problematic problem, then like it's going to be really hard to manipulate this to getting to the top so that you can flip it, so that you can flip theirs. I just don't, it's a cool idea, but I just really don't see it. Really, like the main thing I can think of to use this card for is if you can manipulate it towards the top of the problem deck. Then if your opponent gets the bonus, or if you get the bonus for your problem, or your opponent's problem is what I mean to say, then you can flip theirs to get a new bonus, and then solve it that turn to get the bonus points. Okay, I guess. Like, it sounds like a lot of work for not much payoff, but if that's what you want to use it for, then by all means. And that's about all I have to say on the new problem cards. Some people are going to point out, but Kudo-kun, what about white problems? Well, you see, all of the new white problems suck and are boring. Deal with it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the final part. Please leave this video a like if it helped you out at all. Leave me your thoughts on the problems in the comments section below. And finally, subscribe to stay up to date on the latest Kudo news. Oh, white problems. There are no white problems. Haha, I get it, Interplay. I get it.